Welcome everyone to the first episode, the pilot episode of the Loot Scroll podcast. I am your host, Heedun, and with me I have Namiko.
Hello, hello, hello. Nice to meet you guys. My name is Namiko. We're co-hosting this together with Heedun. And yeah, I look forward to see how this goes.
We should probably have a small introduction for the pilot episode. Just say who we are in a few words, if you want to go first.
Yeah, sure. My name is Namiko. I've been a long-term BDO streamer. I'm a VTuber, as you can see, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I used to play Tamer back in the day, Valkyrie. Now I'm a witch, and I've just recently moved across to Wusa.
You made it sound like it's almost a disease. Yeah, I have a long-term BDO streaming. It's stage 4.
It basically is. Like, streaming BDO is something else, so definitely something for sure.
I think I'm a long-term as well. I think I'm also on the stage 4 video. And yeah, if you've watched the Sork guide, it's likely you've watched my Sork guide. And straight into the introduction of the first host of the first episode.
Yeah, my mic's broken, so I can't turn my mic on, sadly.
I hope you mean the camera,
sorry,
not the
the
mic.
Camera. My bad, my cam.
The microphone is crucial to the podcast part of this. For the first episode, we have a very special guest. We have Armin, which most of you might know from either his days as GM or as a rank 1 Solare player on the NA server. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, Armin.
What's up? It is Armin. Hello. I stream on NA BDO. I'm not like these EU plebeians right here. We actually have the good server, won twice against EU now, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Anyways, so thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, sadly, you are right. EU is down 2-0. 0-2.
I'm just joking, by the way.
It's true.
There's gonna be some people saying it's
factual information. So today is gonna be a PvP oriented episode. Of course, all three of us are PvP players, so that's mostly what we're gonna talk about. But we're gonna talk about more. And yeah, actually 0-3 if you consider the Yard tournament.
Oh wait, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Didn't Aurelia win that one?
Yeah,
it's
actually my fault. I lost to Aurelia. I could have won that.
I remember
won
that.
So
Yeah. Oh no.
it was very emotional.
That's unfortunate.
It was a double L for me that day because I went into the NA server and I tried to apply to Ellie's guild. So she declined me and I also lost to Aurelia. So that was not my best day. Let's start with a BDO related question. So when did you start to play BDO? What was your introduction to the game?
I started playing BDO twice technically. Okay. First one was Steam launch. And I remember specifically it was like Steam launch happened. I was playing Overwatch at this time. I wasn't like fully into like the competitive scene yet. And one of my teammates was telling me that his friend who works on an oil rig and he does like 3 months off and then 3 months on would like binge this game whenever he was home for 3 months before going back to work. So he tried getting me into it off of that. And then I like got into it for like a few days, didn't know how to play it. Go next like 1 week, my friend gets me into it again, and then he like has to handhold me through the entire introduction. Because at Steam Start, it was so bad, right? Like trying to get in, nothing was explained. I had all these green weapons and bullshit. So that's how I ended up starting.
18 or 17?
I think it was 17. I think
Okay,
was original Steam launch, and then
I
I
think,
played.
Both me and Namiko are BDO boomers, right?
Since beta like release, basically the start of the game.
Also,
you guys have been
before
playing way longer.
we move on, there is like I happen to also know someone who works on an oil rig and plays BDO when he's off work. I don't know what the overlap of people working at oil rigs that play BDO is, but it's pretty high considering we know 2 of them. So
I only played for 2 months at that point, and then I quit and I came back during COVID. So I hadn't really played that much when I first started, but the second time around, like I tell when people ask me when I started playing, I tell them like 3 years ago because I don't count 2017 too much.
did you start to PvP straight away, or was it more?
Yeah, that was the whole reason I came back. I love the PvP so much. That's the whole reason I came back. During that first 2 months, I spent the whole 2 months sitting in BA at like 420 gear score and an accuracy offhand trying to fight like 600 or no. At that time I don't even know what it would be, like 520 gear score ninjas or something with full evasion. As that was my experience. So I only came back for the PvP, and the first guild I joined, I literally went straight to BA and I was like, who wants to help me fight or whatever.
What was like the reason that you quit in the first place before you came back to the game?
Back then, you had to grind pirates for how much money was it an hour? It was like
Not much.
not much.
I want to say 50.
It
I want to
was
say 50, but it could be around
Yeah,
those
and
50 to 100.
the I think if Ninja was a good grinder at that time, I would have stayed. But it was the most trash grinder I have ever seen. It was like you would have to do your entire skill bar to kill like a small pack, depending on where you were grinding. And I hated grind spots like Gahaz, where you had to do pack to pack grinding. I really like the grinding now, where it's like Hex. I sit at a pack for like 30 seconds and then I move on. You know what I mean? So
I think that's what turns away a lot of new players, right? Like the entry barrier before you can actually PvP.
yeah, it was too much for me.
Yeah, it gets kind of high, right? Like you get the season PvP kind of thing where you get a little bit used to PvP, and then as soon as season ends or a new player steps out of that kind of environment and they get hit by this like wall of these like players that are just completely unkillable to them. So
Dude, I hated going into BA and asking a guy to drop gear to fight me. Oh, it was the most infuriating feeling in the world, without a doubt.
I feel like I'm missing that part of the game where, because since I started to play at the beginning, I always had some gear. Like there were times where I was overgeared, sometimes where I was undergeared, but I never really got to the point where I felt like it was like an insurmountable amount of gear to reach before I could actually play the game. So I don't really know how it feels, but it's very likely not the best feeling.
I stayed in T1s for a long time during my second round starting playing. My first time I never won Nodeward. During my second round starting playing, like 3 years ago, I was in T1s for like a year and a half, maybe longer. It was almost all the way right up until I started working for PA. So it was a while. And every T1 guild I was in, it'd always be like super giga geared player in there, and then everyone else is like asking him questions like, "Oh, how did you get so geared?" Blah blah blah. Guy says gear like grind. He's like, "I'm never leaving T1s." Everyone was like, "I'm never leaving T1s." That's why there's like such a big community for it, right? It's because like they don't want to go past that insurmountable wall. It's because it takes too long.
To be fair, I think at least on EU, there's a lot of T1 guilds that have people with a lot of gear. They just choose to not do higher gear content. They just prefer
Oh,
gear.
yeah, that's how it's situation on tier 1. We have like some hard cap players that just do the tier 1 because it's that kind of PvP that they want. Like he's got like very little resistance and very little special evasion and stuff like that, and that's the kind of gameplay that they like. So it's caters more towards that for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of become a bit more like that recently, but I think 3 years ago, it felt like there was more people coming in because of COVID and stuff. So I think that's why at that time it felt like a lot of people, at least in the guilds I was going into, were like, they weren't that geared. They were still trying to gear up. Whereas now I think we have like less people going into T1s, and it's more people that have been there and like slowly gotten gear.
You said you recently just got gear, right? What happened?
It's funny. I went to start work at PA. I was 620 gear score. When I left, about almost a year later, I was like 670. And then I recently got through some just like streaming occasional grind. I got to like 678 or 680. And then tournament happened. And I went from like 680 to 716.
Jesus Christ.
In a month and a half or like a month or whatever.
Okay, some Dragon Ball
I don't know.
training.
Yeah, I don't know if you. I literally got 240 bill in 30 days. That's what I ended up grinding out. And then I got like so many people being like, "Oh, dude, he's piloting all this." But if you like ask Choice or like Divios or them, I would literally just hop in call with them, or I would be like at Olins and I grinded just straight Olins and Hex like the whole way. In this past 30 days, or I started out with like 1.2 million or 1.1 million mob kills, and then I got like 900k mob kills in the 30 days. So I literally doubled my entire account's grind.
And that was to prep for the tournament and stuff like that.
All to prep for the tournament, yeah. Because I needed a strong evasion gear, otherwise I was just gonna die.
So what gear did you go for?
So I got a lot of Kaffers with most of the money. I got full C20s, double try Fallen God, 2 Ted Distos, and then C19 evasion offhand and C19 accuracy offhand. And like all the cups, every single cup as well.
Did you go for any accuracy?
No, because if I wanted the accuracy during the tournament, I just put my accuracy offhand on with my plus 15% out Valkyrie buff, and I would kill Shies. Because Ninja would just E-buff. I was like,
that's true.
I think we calculated I was like 980 or 1k accuracy or some crazy amount. So
it's actually curious. Like, curious. It's I think one of the things that really makes video like great in this situation is when you get these moments where you really are motivated and you do this crazy shit. Because I think in a normal situation you wouldn't grind this much, right? In a normal month, would you do it again?
Ever since I finished this grind, I actually started liking grinding. I grinded so much, I convinced myself. I literally convinced myself.
That's usually opposite for most people. They usually like don't want to grind anymore after they grinded a shit ton. So.
Well, it's also because like one, they just buffed Ninja PvE. So I finally untagged my Zerker, which I did for the grind. God, if I did not grind on Zerker, I would have never done that grind. I'll tell you now. But ever since they buffed Ninja PvE, it's I've just been grinding on it just because I'm like happy my class can grind for once. It's like the first time since I started playing the game that Ninja's like S tier in PvE. So I don't mind the grind anymore. I'm trying to get hard cap by February. What's he?
Okay.
It's pretty optimistic, no?
Yeah.
it's
define hard cap. Like, are we talking pen?
Okay. Well, I won the tournament, so I got 50k pearls and a bunch of. I got like 30 loot scroll, 50% scrolls in my like inventory, and a ton of other stuff like loot stuff stocked up. I'm already sitting on 110 bill, and then I need to make 2 Pendisto worth of money. I think you could do that in a month and a half. It's not that bad. It's like 6 hours a day.
Just 6 hours a day of grinding.
It's not that bad.
Well, that's not too shabby.
Not gonna lie though, if I keep playing Dark and Darker, I'm definitely not hitting that goal. Dark and Darker is like making me not want to grind just so I can play this game.
That's my issue with the grinding in video. If I have a purpose, like for the tournament, I also went pretty hard. Not as hard as you did, but I also went from 700 to like 710. And the second the tournament ended, like the day the tournament ended for me, I just didn't grind for another month essentially. And I started just recently to level up the Wusa. But I think if it wasn't for like these things, I don't really find the motivation to grind.
No, I mean, I don't blame anybody that doesn't, to be honest. I still think the grinding in this game is trash. I prefer doing the dungeons whenever those are available.
Yeah.
We can take it back a little bit. There's something that I'm pretty curious about because next week we have the Solare season starting.
Yeah.
Which obviously, as someone who is like pretty much rank 1, has a lot of experience there. You know, a lot of people referred to you as like a lot of source of information. Are you looking forward to the new season starting? Are you going to go hard? Like, what are your general thoughts about this new season?
I won't even be able to play for the first week.
Oh,
I'm like, which I'm super depressed about because what's the exact date?
I think it's the 28th. I think it is.
Yeah, I won't be back until the 2nd. I'll be at home for holidays. So no, it's the first 4 days. I won't be able to play the first 4 days, but I think that's okay. I'm probably gonna binge it once I get back. And then the second thing is that the later you start your climb in the season, the easier it becomes usually. I'd rather start like 4 days late and just like be able to go on a massive win streak than coin flipping first day whether or not I like get a good team.
Can you imagine the 1st of January solo queue experience? Everyone wasted out of their fucking mind.
That's true, actually. That's actually pretty true. Did you guys want to talk like about Solare stuff?
Absolutely, absolutely. Personally, I'm a very big fan of Solare. I've been involved into like tournament and stuff from video since forever. Trial gear already was a massive step for video and Arena of Solare. I think with Solare they kind of brought back a similar PvP feeling of the early days with slightly longer time to kill, right? Most importantly, it's just accessible. It's just accessible for essentially everyone, especially now with skill points being almost not a problem anymore. I do think there's some issues with it. Like, I do want to compliment PA that they finally managed to get the mod out, because I don't think it's it's something we should be grateful for as a community. I would love to see some changes to it personally, as someone who loves like arenas and competition and equal gear stuff. I do want to hear your thoughts about it. Like, what do you think about Solare as rank 1 NA Solare? I think it's a pretty important title.
I think Solare is extremely unmotivating to play. Although, like, okay, I'll give my compliments first. In my opinion, Solare, I couldn't really I didn't really need to ask for a lot, right? This could have been like bare bones, not even like a ranking system or whatever. As long as it made me at least get into a game where I could 3v3 in like a competitive format where it's like gate start, it's like Arena of Arsha, same exact thing, just being able to do it all day, that was enough. Because it'd be like, okay, I need a fix for PvP every once in a while, right? Like you can just hop in there and have some fun. But they went above and beyond. They wanted to add a ranking system and like these like kind of like trying to add some rewards and like incentivizing people to play. There's like coupon codes and everything for it, and like they're obviously like doing some ad campaigns for it. So they're definitely putting effort in. The maps, I'm happy with like the variety. Although some maps are,
yeah,
you know,
the maps.
We got Kadri Ruins.
Some controversial
Kadri.
maps. I love Kadri.
Yeah.
As a Sork, they should bring Kadri back. That was my favorite map.
Dude, that map was so bad for my ninja, man.
Just
I hated
iframe. Like, I don't know what people had the struggles with.
The problem I innately have with it is that with all this effort, it makes you want to play more and try to get a good ranking in it because of the ranking system. But then they do the ranking system so poorly in my eyes. There is no reason for me to play ranked when I've already hit the highest ranking. I've already pushed, or at least my goal. Let's just say I was like an average player. Let's say I pushed my goal to like incarnate or something, or like not incarnate, the blue ranking, right? If I push myself to like 2100 and I'm like, okay, I could get 2400, but like I'm not like crazy competitive. Why is that person gonna keep playing Solar? Why would he? He's just like, okay, I hit my goal, like I'm feeling fine. I'm not someone that wants to become like famous or well known or caring about being really good or in the community or whatever. They just are playing to this goal. They're not gonna keep playing. And that's my problem. Is that I talk about this with Divios. They had the NPC thing for rank 1 of each class, and I think that was a terrible reward because it like seems like a cool idea, but then you realize, oh, I have to go into BA to see it. Oh, the NPC statues are bugged and they're not even showing the correct skin that you submitted. There was like massive restrictions, and then on top of all of this, if you wear a fishing pole on your character, your NPC like reflects it, so it looks super weird.
Oh no.
Isn't the NPC essentially a copy of your current like model?
It's only a copy of your current model, but they weren't allowing people to like pick costumes for it. They're like, you can only pick a full set costume and no dyes. So you couldn't even like customize your outfit like that. And then they come out with the outfits and half of them are bugged and they're showing your actual character in a model.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like it's super dumb.
So are you saying that you think there should be more rewards for climbing?
I think there needs to be something that actually incentivizes people to play, like something that will actually push me to like get this. Because while the NPC is cool, it's not something that in my eyes I would stress about next season. Like I don't really care. Like no one really mentions NPCs and all this. And even like the worst part is that like the top 10 leaderboards, not just class leaderboards, there's also no incentive for that. So when someone gets to like 2100, if they're at the top of their class, they don't have a reason to keep playing anymore on actual leaderboards. So no one really cares about actual leaderboards. Like you could say I'm rank 1. I ended up last season rank 2 because of like some grief bullshit. It's funny. I don't really care about that part anymore. But the thing is that I lost rank 1, but who cares? It doesn't matter. The guy that got rank 1 over me doesn't get anything really out of it.
Do you have some ideas like of what you
want
as a reward?
The thing
Or
is
it
like
motivation?
there's a lot of ideas, right? There's like, oh, you could do silver. That's what a lot of people say. There could be like custom skins or auras on your attacks or whatever. It doesn't really matter to me what it is. I just want there to actually be an incentive to like pushing top 10 or top 20 or top 50. I hated the fact that the reward for playing Solar is like, okay, you get to top 100, everyone on top 100 gets the same reward, and then who cares after that? It was like Choice got to, somebody got to like rank 97 and they just AFK'd. I just hate that fact. I just want a reason to like keep pushing your rank.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Do you have any hopes for like any of the? Because I saw they're adding like certain crystals and certain items and stuff like that. Did you take a look at any of those being added to the game for next season? And what are your thoughts on those?
I was at the ball, so I saw it all in person.
Okay.
When they were like showing it. I've heard like so many mixed reviews on the crystals and stuff. I don't know what you guys think. I've heard like a ton of like, some people think it's like, oh, this is the direction I want them to go, and then some people are like, isn't this supposed to be an equalized arena? So I've heard like both opinions.
My personal take is I love the idea, the concept, because I think having the current gear that we have used in Solare is a bit of a restriction for PA, because if they do like unique Solare items, then they can balance it better, in my mind at least. Because if you're restricted by Tet armor, pen armor, like stuff like that, you have less wiggle room. I feel like I don't think the things that they show are all of the new items and crystals. I think it's just a part of it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, was it just a part of it? I thought it was all.
I hope it's just a part of it. Maybe it's a part of me that hopes it's not all of them. Because I saw, for example, the resist crystals, right? And
Oh no.
yeah, we can talk, I think, an entire day about this. But like, I really don't think resist should be a part of Solare specifically. It shouldn't be a part of the game. You can make an argument for PvE. I don't think you can make an argument for Solare. I think it should not be a thing in Solare. And the fact that the Season 2 crystals have resistance, it makes me feel like they are not really very much in tune with what Solare can be or should be. What's your take on this, like, or Namiko?
Namiko, let me hear what you think, Namiko.
I mean, I'm kind of like midway when it comes to resistance. I think if you want to do, like with Solare specifically, I think if it wants to be something competitive in this like manner, then having like, let's say resist in the game is probably not the greatest thing, because if you have some matches where you have like, let's say if you're looking from a new player point of view, right? That's where a lot of people will be like, a lot of the attention will be from like new players trying to understand how the mechanics of a game work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you see like, you know, A, B, C, you see someone throw like a fireball and then an explosion, and you like know that that's going to like stiffen and then knock down, right? But then you obviously you don't see that person being knocked down. As new players, not really going to stand it in the same kind of way. And this is one of the things that other games, like, it's the difference between, like, let's say League of Legends and Dota 2. League of Legends is a lot more new player friendly to watch, and Dota 2 is much harder to understand because of the extra mechanics, like the turn rate and stuff like this. So I think if they make it as like one-dimensional as possible, if they ever wanted to make it like properly competitive and like a core part of the game which is like interesting for people, because you don't really need, like Heedun said earlier, with the skill point changes and things like this, you don't really need too much of an investment as a new player. You can load up the game, you know, get to a certain level, get the skill point, and you can already bang out Solare, right? So I think if they genuinely want to take it that kind of approach, then stuff like resistances can't really be in the game for Solare, because it would make it a lot harder for new players to get in, because, you know, if they throw out a stun that says it's a stun, or a knockdown that's a knockdown, why is it not knocking down the target, is what I would view a new player to view it as, for example.
I mean, I think that there's a problem, but I think there's larger reasons for why resist shouldn't be in Solare. Mostly just coming down to like, okay, if this guy clearly misplayed and I try to CC him, why should I not win? And the problem is that as you go,
competitive integrity. That's
that's competitive integrity. But there's another part where if the case is that they think that should be a thing to help players that aren't as mechanically skilled, for example, the problem is that it's more abusable for a high elo player to use resist than it is for a low elo player to use resist. I think that's the larger problem, because as a high elo player, I'm only going to give this guy maybe one gap in a massive amount of time, one chance for him to CC me if I make a mistake or something. The other guy's going to be making way more mistakes, and he's going to have a lot more opportunities, so I will still be able to get a CC, whereas if he has a 1 in 20 and he misses that 1 in 20, he's screwed, you know?
Yeah.
He's screwed. So that's what I look at it. But I think for like the new Solare items, the thing I'm really like interested in is the chest plate, because it's like massive DR, right? And I don't know if you guys saw my build for my ninja. While everyone else was going Begs Urgons, I went Muskin Lieber, and then I put Harfias in my helmet. So I did the striker build on my ninja, and it was way better. But with that DR chest now, I'm tempted to wonder if, for example, like me or a Musa, a lot of Musas were doing the same build in NA. Is it better for them to go DR now? Because maybe they get taken care of the DR. Because the numbers are like really low on gear, right? Like we're running Tet armors and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a lot of evasion. So I'm curious to see how that shakes up the meta. I think for the boot crystals, I think the resistance plus stamina boost will probably be best in slot for like every assassin or like an archer, for example. Unless you're trying to go like full damage with RBF crystals. So those are like the two things I'm interested in. Rest of them seem like kind of useless, except for the HP on hit crystals. Those ones, like if they're actually, because you know add-ons, how they say 10 HP per hit? That's all bullshit. That's straight bullshit.
Aren't those add-ons bugged?
Yeah, I don't know if they're bugged or they might be intentional, because if you think about it, like think about a Sage. Intentionally bugged. Like if you look at Sage, what's his new skill? It does like 34 or 40 hits or something. If he uses that, and then he has those, and he has like the 10 HP add-on hit on it, he'd heal so much HP. Especially if he's hitting multiple people. So that's why I'm wondering if those main hand crystals are gonna actually be like, are they gonna be intentionally bugged, or are they gonna be like working properly? Because those could heal a lot on some classes that don't care about the ignore res. Like maybe they're just damage bumping like a Suck Musa. A Suck Musa doesn't care. He's support. I think I agree with your point that it is easier to balance with these, but I thought the whole idea of Solare at the same time was supposed to be like everyone's on an equal playing field. So wouldn't it be better to do like class adjustments for Solare,
like also everyone with the same gear, but
yeah, like you like they do like Solare specific balance, but then that would make more problems of why isn't my class the same in open world? But I don't know.
I understand what you're saying, but I think that completely, like I wanted to say, if you go for that direction, that completely removes build diversity. But if you actually look at what people are running, there is already no build diversity, right? In season 1, at least, everyone's kind of running the same thing. I hope I'm right in saying that I refuse to believe that this is the only things that they are adding for the new season. I
think those are the only things.
Yeah,
for example,
the only ones.
Yeah.
For example, there's this crystal which is minus evasion, minus HP, plus 300 HP recovery in the chest. I feel like if you ever did some tests, there is no way you will ever remove special evasion, right, in PvP, especially in Solare. I feel like
plus 300 HP recovery though. I don't know if I wonder if that is though based off of Solare healing or if it applies open world stat,
like after or before.
Yes, I wonder if it's like
maybe Avuza with the passive HP recovery plus this one, maybe, but like 20% special evasion is massive.
It's a lot, but you heal a shit ton. I think if you're like a Giga SA trade class, you could run that, and then that way you just run away, heal.
But it's the same argument, isn't it? Because special evasion makes you tankier, so it makes you tankier in trades as well. Maybe for an
I need to see how much it heals. I need to see how much it heals. If it doesn't heal much, I would rather you would just always go with Spec eBay. I don't think
then you have the weapon plus 9 HP per attack, which is. Again, I will never trade 20% CC penetration for HP.
Only support class, I think, will be able to run that. Like something that's not getting CCs is just damage.
And boot crystal with the 230 stamina, which is actually a fair amount, and 5% all resistance. This is honestly not bad. As someone who really hates resistance, and as a Sorc, this is actually pretty good. I think.
Those boot crystals are goated. Because you know stamina in Solare is really low, right?
Yeah.
It's like pretty fucking
you do run out of stamina.
That for like my ninja is like an extra 2 ghost steps, which doesn't sound like much, but when you're chaining everything, it makes it a lot more.
It's big. And I don't know how the meta on NA was, but towards the end on EU, most people were running 1 KD and 1 floor resist, right?
I started the season with 1 stun stiff freeze, 1 KD, and I wore that pretty much all the way until the end of the season.
Okay.
Where I switched to double stun stiff freeze. I don't see the point of running 1 KD. I realized it at the end. Because
people,
if you're running 1
penetration, they just go to the like button.
Yeah, so like a Sorc that runs 2 KD ignore with the other, 2?
Mm-hmm.
I think you only had was it a 5%? No, you had a 20% chance to res. And then most Sorcs, for example, were running 4x ignore KD.
Yeah, of course.
I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. So in that scenario, you had 0. It was a 5%. So I don't see the point of the 1-1. But yeah, I think most people were running that. Even I was for a long time.
Any closing words on Solare before we move to the next topic?
Oh yeah. I have a question for you guys. What do you think of the maps? I
have a spicy take. I have a very spicy take. I'm gonna say it after Namiko.
Go ahead, Namiko.
So my favorite map out of all of them, personally, is the Olin map. But that might be because I played Witch during last season Solare.
Yeah,
so
biased take.
Yeah, biased, exactly. Biased take. The one that I disliked the most was, I guess it got removed after a little while. Was the
not including Kazri.
No, the Arahaza one.
Oh, the Arahaza. You hated that one? I like that one.
I hated the
that was my favorite map.
I hated the mechanic with the wind buff. Once they removed the wind buff, it was a lot better because it was nice.
It lasted 1 day.
But yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? So that was a really nice day, but the actual the before that one, I disliked that map the most. It was the one that I crashed the most on. It was with the wind buff waiting. It was very like dull.
What about when it worked though? What about when it
crashes are another issue, right? That we cannot talk about.
Yeah,
Crashes, and on EU we also had DDoSing.
You still had them? You still had crash? Oh well, that
was also.
I was looking into that. This is obviously not when I was a GM. Being able to DDoS that easily is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
At least in NA. I've never seen any game have that issue before. You know, the crazy part is, like, EU servers get DDoSed, and, like, it was, like, doomed for AOS. But then I always felt like EU servers were better than NA. Because if you go outside of Solare, performance-wise, like, I've seen you guys' sieges, and they seem a lot better than NA's. We can't even do Calpheon. If two guilds... Yeah. If there's like 2 guilds, 100-man balls, it lags. That's it. It's just 2. It only needs 2 on Calpheon. It's crazy.
I think we can move to Siege. I'm gonna say my spicy Solare take about the maps. I genuinely liked all of the objective maps. I wish they just reworked Kadri a little bit before removing it. Because the annoying part about Kadri is that...
player take, bro.
The Kadri thing is 100% sword player, but the issue, in my opinion, with Kadri was that the CC was a bit RNG. Or like very hard to read. But if they made it like more readable, more predictable, well, let's not even talk about the Kadri map. Overall, I really like the objective maps. People hated on the buffs. I think the buffs made the game more interesting and more team play focused in a way, because you had to play around it. You had to kind of organize better with your team rather than.
You're the first player I've heard say that.
I got a lot of
every
shit.
person I've played with on EU, every take has been like remove buff map, or they don't want the buffs.
Yeah, same here. I hate buff maps.
NA too. I mean, like a lot of people I know don't like the buffs. So I'm very surprised you say that, because I felt like it would be the opposite of what you said. I thought you'd be like, nah, I hate the buff map. I want like straight competitive integrity. You know.
But why wouldn't? Is like a Baron not competitive in League?
I don't know.
Nashor in Dota. That's where all the exciting stuff happens. No.
I think the buffs grew on me. The thing that I think me and like I've talked to a few other players that they really hate is just the red zones. I think the red zones are the really dumb ones where you take damage from the zone. Because
I'm a sword player. There's nothing I can say that is gonna be like, oh, if he's a sword player, of course. It just iframes it. It's true. In a way, it's true.
The PvE iframes work on it, and I hate it that they do.
Like a magical evasion on which, and just like.
What happens to me is that I see a striker run through it, and he takes like negative damage. He'll take like 5% of his HP. If the red zone back attacks me, I lost. I tested it. It was 60%. I lost 60% of my health to a back attack red zone. And meanwhile, a striker lost. I think we tested it was like 8% or like 10%. It was so that was just the only thing that I hated. That I think there was too much RNG involved if like it spawns on you or not. But yeah. Besides that, I really hate Thornwood probably the most. Any map that involves high ground or anything that just kind of takes away like verticality, I just think is really dumb, because it's too class biased where you don't really have any form of counterplay. Whereas Olin's, it's like, okay, it's like any other game. Like if you're fighting, like I'm playing Dark and I'm fighting an archer or a wizard down a hallway, I at least can like kind of wait for a shot and then push him. But you can't do that on like a verticality. Like how am I supposed to get up to him? You know?
I think you can make an argument that class bias maps are not necessarily bad as long as there's quite a few in the rotation. It does make things a bit more exciting, right? Because maybe a class is stronger in one map and weaker in the other, and it makes things a bit more RNG, of course.
I just think until damage is fixed to where it doesn't matter about verticality. Like I know some Musas fighting on the hill on Thornwood, or not Thornwood. Sorry, I keep saying Thornwood. The Yeti map, Jade Starlight.
Okay.
If they're fighting on the hill on Jade Starlight, they would lose damage because the hill was eating stuff. So that's the only thing. I think
the wall eating and corners.
The little crevice you went into, I cheesed so much elo out of that thing just for fun. I didn't start it. It was like Divios and a few other NA players were like using the crevice. I'm like, okay, I don't have a choice now. I got to use it.
That's the thing, though, right? In BDO, like especially as a PvP player, if you don't abuse the game, you're just gonna
run into some people that will mad abuse. Like, anytime I run into a Suck Nova player, I call them abuser. Even though it's just my class that's bad into them, I call them abuser loser, bro. I hate it.
Quick top 3, top 4 best Solare classes.
I'm not gonna put them in order. Okay. So I'll just say they're like kind of just together. Suck Ninja definitely top 4.
Okay.
I think Psych Mystic definitely top 4. I think after all the nerfs and everything, I think Warrior's trash now. Or not trash. I think he's just average. Even though I know EU still loves Warrior a lot, I don't think he's like crazy good anymore.
A lot of Warriors just rerolled or are not playing as much as before.
When I saw what's his name? I can't remember right now.
Sploof?
The greatest warrior title. No, the greatest warrior title for EU right now.
Greatest warrior. Quizaj, yeah.
Quizaj. Yeah, Quizaj. When I saw Quizaj not playing warrior, he rerolled the striker. I was like, oh, dude. You know, like I was like, oh yeah, warrior, definitely. He's still. I think he does, but I think he rerolled evasion and everything. So
I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah.
He bought some. Yeah, he bought some like muskins and levers. I'm pretty sure.
It's probably a good transition to maybe a few words on your Calpheon Ball experience since you were there. Like, how was it?
Calpheon Ball. I think it was really funny how they were like, new region releasing, except it's going to be released late for NA when the Calpheon Ball's in NA. I was like, what the fuck? There's no way you're doing this right now.
I think I heard boos. Were there boos in the crowd?
There was massive boos. Everyone's like, boo, dude. It was funny because right when they were about to announce it, I had to go to the restroom. I go to the restroom, I come out, I just hear booing. I didn't know what it was about. I had to ask. It was so funny, man. It was so funny.
I think it's the first time really in 6 years that there's boos at a Calpheon Ball, by the way.
No, I mean, they never had a crowd. I think they had a Korean crowd in the... Okay, so I heard that originally Calpheon Ball and Heidel Ball were with crowd and then COVID hit. So I didn't know that. But yeah, what's it called? It was interesting. There was like a few boos for some things and cheers for other things. It was a good experience. I got to meet a lot of people. I had a lot of fun. I saw Choice. He had like so many people go up to him to take a picture. I had nobody, so I was like, all right, well, I guess. I was like, oh, that's kind of. At first, I was kind of sad, and then he told me about how many photos and stuff and everything he had to do. I was like, never mind, I'm happy because I got to just like have a good time.
I don't know if you met Jay before.
Oh, I've been to Korea. I mean, I've been in their offices and everything. So
I guess for you, it was like not as exciting maybe of an experience as it could have been for
meeting him. Oh no. I've had a lot of what's it called? Like I've talked to the guy. I've had food with him and stuff. Okay. He's a really cool guy.
Do we want to move to the PA thing? I guess.
Yeah, we can switch over to.
It depends how much I can say with NDA.
I guess a general question is, did you enjoy your time there? Did you have a nice experience? And was it like
for
what
sure.
you expected?
No, I was in terms of like working there and like co-workers and meeting people and their like KR offices and everything. It was a super great time. They've taken partners to the KR offices before. They're super nice, super nice. And then as for actually working with people and everything, I loved it. So.
How did it start? So you were a player when you applied, I guess? The
way it worked was I did a casting for Cacao. It was when there was a tournament held when transfership was going from Cacao to PA. And then a few of the content creators in the community, I had like no viewers at this time. I had like 20 or something. They were holding a tournament, like an end of year tournament, and then it was like a charity giveaway of like 10K. Cacao chipped in like 5K or something. I got contacted to host that tournament from the other content creators because they heard me shoutcasting. And because of that, PA knew about me. So when the Arena of Solare tournament was happening for 1v1s, they contacted me to come and cast them because they'd heard my shoutcasting before. Mm-hmm. Originally, it was supposed to be Vert. And then when I did the casting for like the top 32, top 16, they're like, we need this guy. So they like immediately bought me a ticket for LA and I came to cast.
Yeah, I do remember, like on EU, of course, more scuffed everything. Like as I said, I participated / hosted, casted most of the EU tournaments. Not as good as you. I never tried to be like play-by-play, at least. I would try I was trying to give it like an insight of what was happening, but I remember the first time I heard you was like, who's this kid? What the fuck? This guy's too good. So yeah, not surprised that kind of helped a lot, I suppose, to get into PA, right?
Yeah, no, because it was like I went to that, and then during that they offered me the job. So and then I started to go work for them. I had to move like all the way to LA and find an apartment and all this stuff. But yeah, it was a cool time.
What were you doing before?
Before I was in school.
You're young, right? Yeah, you're.
I'm only 21. They hired me at 19.
Jesus Christ, making me feel old.
Yeah, I'm still young, man. Everyone thinks I'm like way older. If I've never heard my age, because I look a little older. Yeah.
I mean, because I actually do remember. I have this memory of PA doing a stream with Endlave and you in NA, where you were making you guys were making like drinks based on video.
Oh, yeah.
And you couldn't
I had to
drink
leave.
because you had to leave, right? Because you couldn't be seen on camera.
I can't be on camera with open
that's
alcohol.
honestly from an European, like from an EU POV. Like I think
Yeah,
it's similar.
drinking age is like 18 over there, right? 18 to 20, depending.
I want to
on
say
which
16.
16, really? Because I thought in UK it's 18.
It's
UK might be a
yeah, I
little higher
think
than
it's
other
18.
states. I think Germany. I thought Germany was 16. No.
If you drink
It
a few
might be a
beers
little bit lower.
in EU, if you drink a few beers at 16, it's normal. So it's kind of a weird like cultural difference, I would say.
No,
But yeah,
I mean,
like,
I get it. I get it.
So you started the PA. Tell us what you can tell about your experience. Like, don't want you to break any NDA. You can say even like random stuff, like general things about moving.
Outside, like about the actual PA stuff, it's like pretty strict. I can't really like talk about much, to be honest.
That's fair. You
It's
don't
funny
have to.
because every time I'm on stream and I talk about something, I'm like, okay, I have to like cross-reference. Like, okay, I'm talking about some game update. Okay, do I know anything from the past regarding this? If I do, I have to explicitly say I think, or like I don't know this. I'm just like I'm guessing off of like what they've told us. So if they haven't said something, I can't like make like a reference or like a guess towards it. Even if like you theoretically could bring this as like an idea. We'll say like the resist thing. You theoretically can guess where like the idea of it is from in like in terms of PvP. But like if that theoretic guess, like I can't even make that because it might be considered NDA.
Okay.
The only reason I can like say something about it is because I don't know what the actual reason is. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm fine to talk about this. So I don't know. Sometimes I'll be in like calls with my friends and then they'll be talking about something and then they like are like, yo, what do you think? I'll be like NDA. And then we just leave it at that. I don't say anything else. As for like moving and stuff, it was like I hate living in LA, low key, because rent is incredibly high. You'll get like most of the time you'll find like a single bedroom like studio here and it'll be like 2K.
Damn.
That's crazy, right?
That's a
And then
lot.
it's like shit plumbing. It's not even a good area. Like cars get broken into like constantly. If you leave like a bag in your car, they'll smash your window, grab the bag and run.
Jesus Christ, I've
happens-
seen
Christ.
You guys, I've never seen it in EU, but I don't like
UK sounds like London.
that. Yeah, I've seen that in like yeah. But like
Yeah.
in like San Francisco and LA, it's really common. So I literally like
crazy.
what's it called? And so it's so bad in some parts of San Francisco, and I'm happy it's not up there. The offices, people will literally leave their cars open with like their trunks wide open on the street.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
So they don't smash
But,
things, right?
So they don't
thieves can
smash
just
the
check,
windows. You can just check.
it's crazy.
Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah. So that was like the big thing I hated for like working there. It was just because of like having to move to LA.
Did you have bad
Um,
experiences? Like
With
personally?
LA?
Yeah.
No, I've gone lucky, but the rent is just also a pain,
Mm-hmm.
like a massive pain. As for like actually working there, the offices are super nice. I think I mentioned it, but like there's been streamers I've gone to the KR offices. The KR offices, I doubt this is NDA. They have like their own restaurant. It's like a giant building. They have their own cafe, free drinks. You just walk into work and grab like espresso lattes with like bartenders already making all the drinks. And then you'll go to like dinner and they have their own. They have their own restaurant where you get like free food if you're a worker, like actual restaurant, like chefs and everything. I was like, dang, this is high class. It's like working at
Fancy.
like Google or Facebook or something. Yeah.
Okay, I guess you can't talk about like your interactions with players, like in the sense of because when you were a GM, I don't know, like obviously
What do you
specific
mean?
roles or anything, like ticket answering or anything like that, or like general
What was your
interactions?
job? Like, I guess we didn't talk about that. What were you doing at PA?
I think I can like relatively talk about that. So what I mean, because it's literally on their LinkedIn. If you're like a GM, the way like most companies work for their ticketing systems, if you go to like WoW, Blizzard, or any of these companies, most of like ticket work is like typically outsourced. That's pretty much how it always works at vast majority of MMO or even like COD, right? Or something. Like if you send a ticket, it's usually outsourced, and then they have like an actual support team that it'll like get forwarded to kind of thing. So GMs basically will like kind of help with handling some of that stuff, and then they'll do like in-game events too, which you guys have seen. So I was a GM for a little bit doing that, and then CM for the stuff that I can say is like you'll handle like streams and community management through like Discords and stuff, and then some are like Twitter and Facebook. That's pretty normal. and then also like feedback and stuff. So you've seen on the forums recently, CM Vidir and CM Blackstar were doing like forum responses and feedback and all that, and even Enlave. So all that feedback gets sent there, and then the CMs will like take care of that.
If you want to say like why you quit,
it was basically just like I have other things in my life that I wanted to like push towards, and a lot of the restrictions working there, like not being able to stream and some other stuff, I just wasn't a big fan of. Especially since I want to do like casting stuff, and I've basically been spending since quitting, like when I'm in my free time and I'm not streaming. I hate doing it on stream, but when I'm not streaming for now, I've just been practicing casting other games. I've done like League and some other stuff that I've been practicing. So hopefully eventually I can start going into that. But that's like a big reason. And then obviously as a player, I hated like working for a company that the game I was working on I was so passionate about, because it would upset me very much when they made a change that in my eyes I disagreed with. Like way back when I first started working there, like there was some T1 changes that I just didn't like. And it was frustrating to me to like see a change that I wasn't happy with. So
don't you feel like you're even more powerless from a player position rather than inside the company?
Yes, but at least when I'm a player, I can be like, okay, there's definitely nothing I could have done. Whereas where I was at the company, I was like, okay, like, no, this is like, I'm kind of like, I don't, just NDA, so I don't want to talk about too much. But yeah, it's like, I'd rather feel like I couldn't do anything, personally. I don't know, that's how it feels to me. Also, Solare came out, and I was so hyped for Solare.
More time to play. Quitting the PA to play more video.
Dude, you know, it sucks, man. Like, what's it called? Like, a few of the GMs and CMs, like they still have their personal accounts, like Enlave.
Yeah.
Like he still has his personal account. He still plays in his free time. Like he has to stop playing after a certain point. You can see like he plays like 15 games and then he stopped playing. I think I saw in his like play record.
He had to stop because they couldn't be on the top 100 or something.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. This was after I stopped working there, so I don't mind saying it. This is just like stuff I found out. Yeah, after top one, they can't get to top 100 because it was the rewards, right? They couldn't yank the rewards from other people, so they couldn't be in top 100. Yeah, so it sucks.
Awesome. We can move into your best memory about BDO. Like, do you have a moment in BDO where it's like either a really exciting moment or something that you remember like the most in like your experience in BDO? Like your favorite kind of moment in it?
Dang, I had like two. One of my first ones was, it was like way back, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I finally hit a point where I was like really happy about how like my PvP. I was like, oh, like I was like starting to be like, okay, like I'm feeling like I'm a good player now. That was probably like, it was like it's just a vague memory, but to me that was like one of the better ones, because that really got me way more into the game. It was like when I was a BA rat. I got into like this BA rat guild, and then I was starting to duel like a lot of the people in there, and I got a lot better. And then I started doing some like node wars and stuff, and I was doing good. So that was a pretty happy moment for me. I was like, oh, but like progress. And then the second one was probably like Solare came out. Solare release. Not gonna lie, one of my favorite moments. That or probably this tournament that recently happened.
The 3v3, which you
this is the first ever official tournament I've entered. And I won it. Now, granted, I had to ditch my guild to join Divios' team, but it was, I still was pretty happy about it. Because, I don't know, the way I looked at it was like, can we, if you guys are down to talk about the tournament stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I hate the fact that it's a best in guild tournament, but this individual rewards are more incentivized than the guild rewards. Like, oh, my guild gets to spawn Garmoth. Who cares, man? Like, my Kron Moth. Let me get my 5 Krons. And then it was like, and the guild gets like a temporary title.
Yeah.
So it was like,
unless you unequip it, it's permanent.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then meanwhile, like the 3 individual winners, they get a permanent title. They get $500 worth of pearls, which by the way, literally got me like 80 bill. They get like 25 old moon scrolls, 5,000 crons, 100 corrupt oils, like a ton of perfumes and droughts, you know, and then on top of that they get the Archer weapon, which I didn't care at all about the Archer weapon. The Awakening Ninja one's so what's that? And then the Awakening Ninja one's so bad. It's so bad. It was crazy to me that like it's a guild tournament, and then you're more incentivized, for me, at least to me, I was more incentivized to leave my guild to join the guild that had, in my opinion, at the time, just a better chance of winning, just because Divios. Like Divios is such a, and Raiden. Both of them, like Raiden, hard carried. I'm not gonna lie.
So yeah, I thought that was the most successful esport BDO player.
He has never lost a tournament in this game's history. Literally every official tournament he has won that he's entered.
Did he participate?
I think it's like 6 now. Yeah, 6 now. 6 now. Yeah. So I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, I just was not a fan of that.
No, it basically felt like that. It definitely felt like it was more focused on trying to make a strong team rather than it be a guild orientated kind of thing. So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Maybe a best in guild would it be more suited for 10v10, 20v20, a node war, like something.
10v10 I think would be really good. I think a 10v10, yeah, that'd be super cool. Okay, nice. Node war. You guys want to talk about node war?
Do you play node war?
I do. I'm in Cho right now, and I was in digital. Digital is like basically second best in NA, and then Cho's number 1.
So one of the biggest things between EU and NA, I think, is the node war siege scene.
Yes.
How we approach it in different ways and stuff like this, and there's always that kind of
class meta too, not just for node wars. I want to talk about later.
Yeah, sure. We can go into that now if you want. Then we can start like going into the class meta difference. How is it in node wars for you guys? Like, what are the like main classes that you fight against, or like that kind of thing?
I think in NA we have a lot more of a range meta than EU. Like Cho, for example, has like 6 rangers that are just like consistently all the way top frag. Along with a lot more rats in NA. I think we have a lot more rats in terms of node war and stuff. EU is just like a ton of stacking Valkyries and Zerkers, right?
Yeah, basically.
For NA, it's like we'll have like a lot of Rangers and Archers, a lot of Archers, a lot of rats like DK, Musa, and not really a lot of ninjas, to be honest. No, not really a lot of ninjas. Like DK, Musa, and then we have digital like giga stack Zerks, and then Cho is also trying to stack Zerks. So like Zerks are super high value over here, but Valks we like hardly have like any. We don't really run it at all. Raiden is like the premier Valk for Cho, and he does really well.
Yeah, I was watching him stream when Cho was defending the Valencia castle against like 4 or 5 guilds, whatever it was. He was like solo handling like the defensive structures, like and he still got Stormtrooper for all that. Like it was weird seeing a Valkyrie play like base defending versus like holding the choke kind of thing. So it was a different experience than what we get in EU, because our Valkyrie is like frontline, you know, support.
Oh, most of the time he's frontline. No, most of the time he is. I think that was just a rare scenario. Yeah, most of the time he's like dive bombing and doing a lot of stuff. But yeah, we don't really have a lot of Valks in NA. Not really. Nor a lot of Mystics in Node War, or like anywhere in general. We don't really have a lot of Mystics either.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I'm really happy we don't have suck Mystics. Even though like my class is really good into it, I think like in general the class is just super annoying, especially for a lot of people. Valkyrie. Dude, the crazy thing to me is that they added that change where like, oh, fix the bug where the purification is not healing 20% of your... I'm like, what? This is a bug? It was supposed to do this whole time? What is this? That change is crazy. Well, because he was we were doing it for AOS or AOA, and it was like he would get CC'd, stand up, 20% HP, instantly does purification, back to like 50%. I'm like, holy.
This is a full tinfoil of mine, but I had this like theory since the start of the game. Sometimes instead of like listing changes and like buffs and nerfs, PA say that it was a bug fix. Like,
yeah. They did that for Canoe. Or Kuno for
to me, it's like 100% what's happening sometimes.
Yeah. During the Kuno nerfs, they nerfed Kuno Sanuka Rabomb. They're like, fix the bug where it CCs on all ticks. I'm like, what? This has been in the game this whole time.
Sus.
But it's sus. But what was it?
The meta difference.
I do think that while Valks are super good, I do think that it tends to be like EU runs too many, and I think NA doesn't run enough. Because I see like EU seems like they have like way too many Valks unnecessary sometimes, to the point where it's hard to feed a lot of them. Whereas like we have, we're trying to get as many Zerks as possible, and I think Zerk is crazy in Node War. Just because 100% bombing. Like if you have like 4 Zerks on that land on the same spot, they're all 100ing. It's so hard. Anyone that gets caught in it, you know. They get burned. And the ranged. The reason we have a lot more rats, I think, is because there's also a lot more ranged. So it feels really bad to play melee classes that don't have the like really fast engage kind of thing. So I am surprised by like how little rats there seem to be on EU a lot of the time.
Yeah, a lot of the there's a few guilds in EU that run kind of like RBF style-ish Node War comps, but a lot of it is like main ball fighting, and you only see a few rats running around for the backline kind of thing, because I think they rely a lot on the Zerka Valkyrie running in kind of
I mean,
composition on composition.
we still have a lot of that, but
Mm.
it's just more so like when it feels like EU doesn't have like I feel like I don't see a lot of mooses in EU. For example, I've only seen a few. I don't know how it is for you guys, but over here, like each guild will usually have like 6 mooses or 7 mooses.
There's
Like-
like
which yeah.
in some of the stronger guilds, I see like 2, 3 maybe max kind of, but I definitely don't see a lot. In my experience in Node Wars in general, I only get ran down by like 1 moose or maybe 2 max, and I'm a witch, so it's like I don't really see moose or a crazy amount.
I remember the way it was in like when I was in Digi and we were like node wearing Cho. This was when everyone was doing the Varn step fights, which we still do, but it was like one of the first, like when the Varn step first kind of was like everyone started doing like massive node wars there. It was like you'd spawn in or you'd be about to fight, and then there was a separate plat of like 15 Musas running around, and they would hit your backline while their main ball was fighting. It was the most cancer thing. They would just obliterate you, and all of them are like evasion Musas, every single one of them. So they take so long to kill if you're not running like max accuracy. So our rangers were like dying in like 2 hits while they're still like decently tanking.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, like, in terms of meta, I think that's always been a unique thing for NA. I do think that there definitely needs to be some nerfs for, like, Node War and stuff, or, like, for the class meta. I think, like, Zerks, it's crazy. Like, I don't normally think they're so strong, but you go into Node War and they're kind of nuts. Rangers, for example, like, they hit way too hard. I don't know how many, like, giga-stacked Rangers you have in EU, but most of ours, they'll pretty much always be top frag. Because I think they'll run, like, 316 like triple accuracy accessory or some crazy number, and it's so much damage.
Yeah, a lot of the top fraggers what I've seen as of late, just in my experience, have been like Novas, Rangers, or Archers generally. Like one of those like kind of 3. And
well, you guys have a lot more Awakening Novas too, don't you?
Yeah, we have a lot of Awakening Novas in EU.
How much are you into Node Wars?
Oh, super hard. Yeah, I love Node Wars. Yeah.
Okay.
I am personally of the opinion that 150-man alliances are stupid.
Okay.
And I think,
Yes.
I would rather them cap guilds at like 70 or 80, and make sieges be, instead of 100, make sieges be 75, and then you have 5 extra players for fill-ins. I would rather them do something like that and like split guilds really hard so that we have more guilds to fight with.
So I'm not as passionate as I used to be when it comes to Node War, but I do think capping guilds at 50. For me, 50 is the perfect number.
Even 50 would be fine, but I think for a lot of people that might be too much. Because then how do you do siege and you don't have extra players?
You just team up with other guilds.
That's true. It's just, to me, it seems it's nice to have the ability to like, okay, we are guaranteed going to have like almost 100, for example, right now for siege, when you have a little bit over the cap. So that way it's like, okay, if these guys have to go on vacation, we don't have to necessarily merc anybody in anymore. Like that used to be a big thing, right? You could merc, but you can't, no one does it anymore.
I think there's still people who like merc and a conquer, right? Like 1s and 2s, like usually shies and stuff maybe. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I don't maybe not conquer, but there's definitely merking going on in the top kind of guilds in our region. But that I'm gonna segue that into I personally am not a major fan of the alliance system. I think as someone who is like a guild master of a guild and stuff like this, I think the alliance system itself kind of took away the need to build a big guild and a big community. It might have been the same at NA, but on EU we have a lot of like smaller guilds that, you know, you can make you and your friends make a 30-man elite guild, and you can just go into a guild that has 60, 70 people, and you don't have to worry about like utility or defense or anything like that. You can just do your own thing, which it works for a lot of it. But I think one of the biggest, best parts about BDO previously was when we had like previously in EU we had a lot of guild versus guild like drama and stuff like that, like massive guild versus massive guild. And that kind of doesn't really exist in the same anymore, because now we've got like the strongest alliance in our region is like 4 guilds.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Man and 50-man and stuff like that. And if it was like a 100-man guild, or like let's say your logic the 75-man, I think that would be a million times better. Like my logic was that the alliance system be like taken away or potentially only used for siege, to allow certain guilds to fight, you know, with another guild for siege only. But I think Node Wars, I think capping guilds would be a really good idea. and I think taking the alliance system away, so it forces people to want to join bigger guilds and create big communities and
competition as well for like joining a guild, which doesn't it used to exist, but not anymore.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like even from a recruiting point of view, a lot of people obviously want to go for the win because they can just jump into an alliance at any point, essentially. So like step up for, like you've got the top tier guilds and then you've got like a few steps down, and there's a massive gap between those guilds because people will go to like the stronger alliance or they'll pick up at like one of the stronger small guilds. And because people are in those kind of guilds, it's kind of hard to create these big alliances, bigger guilds, sorry. And I think that's one thing the guild's missing right now is those like big names. Because I guess Cho Nation is like probably your biggest, I guess, like strongest guild in NA. And it's like really well known as like boom, Cho Nation, right? Massive guild. We have Conquer, which is a set of 4 guilds kind of thing. So it's like completely different kind of thing, right? So
I think the thing I hate about the alliance system that was a big byproduct of it was, or something that was a big byproduct of it is you go on to like, we'll say again, like Navarre and Step or something, and it's the same 6 guilds. Because anytime any group leaves a guild, they're just going to go to another of those same 6 guilds.
Yeah,
it used to be like, okay, if I need like an ally, there was like more options. It was almost twice the options. But now it's like, because of alliance merges, it's just the same 6 overall guilds. And then like, it's just how it is. And you'll hardly see like players change anymore. So that's been to me the most annoying part is I kind of miss the variety and being able to node war on other nodes. Like right now, like because we're just AFKing in castle because siege sucks, which I honestly at this point I've gone to start preferring just milking a castle than actually going to siege. There's just no variety anymore in node wars. So like I'll go to Calpheon. It's just like 2 super weak guilds that we're bringing like 20 and 30 so we can at least get a fair fight. Because otherwise, if you're not on like Navarre or Kama, no one's fighting you, pretty much.
Yeah,
that's pretty much that's kind of how it feels.
It's the same in EU, sorry, is having the same guilds in the same area. Like one of the, it's I think why a lot of people are looking forward to the new/old war node war system.
Yeah, it's coming back now.
Yeah, you know, maybe get to fight in Serendia again, or Balanos again, or areas like this, like very common like nodes that people loved before and stuff like that. And
I just want Balanos because of better FPS. I want Balanos because of better FPS.
Yeah, Camera is awful. Like if you fight like Polyforest or Forest Roneros area, I get teleported to every bush, every stick, every rock. Everything is tragic. But no, I think it's the same in EU when it comes to node wars. I think people are a little. I don't know if burnt out's the right word to use, but a little like bored of fighting the same guilds and the same people and the same alliance in the same place and like bread and butter repeat over.
I've started enjoying the open world a lot more lately. With like I started taking on the EU strat of being a complete sweat lord and going around popping elixir rotations and perfume of charms fighting random people. I will say it is the most enjoyable experience of my life. I love it. I will say. So, because normally in NA, when it comes to like all that, it will pop it in node wars if it's like a really serious node war and like points where like we're pretty serious about it, like an important thing. But otherwise, if it's like open world or anything, people will just pop drafts. No one cares here. Like, because it's like, okay, I'll die, I'll respawn node or something. But whereas it's different in node war because every kill counts. I just think it's funny. I watch EU and it's like, dude, they're just doing open world outside Heidel. That's okay. Elixir rotation. Let me pop it. Wait, and they'll just do everything out of their way to not die. I'm like, dude, it's not that serious, man. It's open world.
Like
so I always thought
escape and all that stuff.
Yeah, I actually kind of like people will still do that here. But like it's just like they don't care as much. So yeah, that's just been more fun for me to do lately. Because people get so mad over here when you do it. They're like, dude, why are you popping your elixir rotation? You're so sweaty. That's what everyone will say. And every time I'm just like, you know what? Yes, I am. I enjoy it. It's so fun being tanky like that. Anyways, Siege. I wanted to bring up Siege as a kind of closing thing on the node war stuff. I hate Siege with a passion now. Just because of the lag. I think that is the biggest reason a lot of guilds here are just like kind of not enjoying it anymore. One is the lag, and then 2 is all the cap siege fights are just complete like alliance bullshit politics every time now. Of like, okay, no one's fighting anymore. I was in Dejual's stream and he brought it up. No one's fighting anymore to try and win the castle. It's just like, okay, this is going to be the 6v6 fight. We get them to 10% and then they get castle. Like, what the fuck? I hate it. I hate that idea of just like, it's not anymore of like going in, fighting and taking. It's just, okay, everyone, we're going to stalemate this. This guild's getting the castle as planned in our Excel sheet 15. Like,
you know what the issue is? These things you're bringing up now were issues in 2016.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a solution to it unless they completely change everything about Siege, essentially. Well, the lag is never going to get fixed. That's already...
That's true. That's true. But I think the thing was back then, it was like they're rotating in between an alliance, right? They're rotating between like 2 or 3 people a lot of the time. But the way it's working in NA is like it's 15 guilds and it's rotating between all 15, and most of the time it goes to T1 guilds. So that way the Siege guild can go to another region and fight the next day against this other Siege guild.
It's a combination of the Siege itself not being very, I think, well thought out because of this happening for many years, and just gaming culture. Just gaming culture in general. People want to min-max their gaming experience, right? So
and profits.
If this is the best money per hour they can get with the least amount of effort, like fun is not a factor in the equation, right? They don't care about having the coolest and most epic fight of their life. They don't give a shit. What they care about is, okay, we get the castle. This is the easiest way for us to get it, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's a bit of a shame that basically Siege nowadays is like a week of Diplo, and then a guild wanting the castle, and everyone else kind of turns up because they want to try and fight a little bit, but then it just ends up being 4 forts on 10%. This person guarantees after a few hours, everyone leaves, and they just let the Siege tick off, and they get the money, they get the castle, and that's it. I feel like a lot of that has kind of come from the player mentality because of the rewards they added to Siege, which were obviously an incentive to try and push people to take castles. And I think it kind of made people go, oh, well, we can place a snipe and get some money, or we can, do this Diplo, do 1 hour of like PvP, body throwing, all that kind of stuff, and then get money for it. And that's unfortunately the situation that some people are in. But I do think the alliance system and stuff like that does cater towards these kind of things, that the strongest people are still significantly far away from someone slightly under them. And I'm not a major fan of Siege right now. Like, Siege for me is I merc Siege and I kill, and then that's the experience for me. Like, I haven't been involved in a Siege guild in a while, like properly, so I don't have the greatest experience. Yeah, basically.
Oh, I hate RBF too. RBF sucks. I will say.
You hate RBF?
No, I hate RBF. That's why I do open world only now. I don't even bother doing RBF.
What makes you hate RBF?
It's just like the Valencia map, all the HP gimmicks and buff gimmicks, and oh, I'm tankier or squishier, and then all these rooftops, and it's just like it's just a lot of the time it's just not fun. You just you wake up, I wear some hybrid gear and get decently tanky. I run into a node, I fight 2 guys, die, and then I'm running onto the same node over and over and over for 3 hours straight, just running onto this bottom right node where there's no high ground casters. And if I go in the middle, I just have a ranger and a wizard on a wall shooting at me, and I can't do anything. So
I mean, I can understand that, yeah.
People don't even care about win or losing the RBF. They just go for sideline kills. That's the thing. So
yeah, that's literally what I do. So
yeah.
Closing words. So we want to do something for each guest that comes to the podcast, and we will create a playlist on Spotify with your favorite song. So essentially, we're gonna ask every host from now on what their favorite song is. We're gonna add it to the playlist, make a little nice playlist out of it for people to put on the background while grinding. So the question is, what is your favorite song? You don't need to overthink it. Just give us your current favorite song.
Okay. Wait. Let me type it in.
Yeah,
I'll give a unique one. I'll give a unique one.
Yeah, give us an Armin song.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think most people haven't heard of this artist. He doesn't have a lot of followers. He only has 750k. That's not much. There you go. That's mine.
All right.
If you want some weeb shit, Rumbling from Attack on Titan. That one's a pretty good one.
Okay.
That's gonna be the alternative. I think Namiko's happy to hear about the weeb stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, dude. That's a good one.
Okay. Do you have any shout out, any closing words?
I was just gonna say some meme shit like BDO sucks, but yeah, check my Twitch socials, twitch.tv/ArminTF, and my Discord server, I guess. When AOS is back up, I will be perma-streaming that. So if you guys want to see some ninja from NA tilt and run it down. Oh, I'll probably play EU again.
Nice.
I played EU last time.
Oh,
See ya there,
yeah. Playing EU is actually fun. I just hate the ping. The ping sucks. And besides that, I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I was probably rambling a lot, but that's just how I talk, so sorry about that. But yeah, appreciate it, guys.
That's why you were here.
no, thank you very much for coming. It's been wonderful to get a little bit of insight about you, your background, your general, like, you know, how you feel about video and stuff like that. It's been wonderful. It's been really nice to talk.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks
man.
for being part of the episode 1 of the Loot Scroll podcast.
Is that actually the name of the Loot Scroll
that is
podcast? And
the
we're
Loot Scroll
talking about
podcast,
PvP,
yeah.
and we're talking about PvP.
We are farming kids. That's what we do.
Nice.
And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for everyone that made it to the end. Thanks so much. See you next time. Check out the socials of all these beautiful people. It's gonna be all on the screen and in the description. And see you next week. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You guys doing one a week? Ain't no way you're doing one a week.